Hey, what's up? It's Greg Gray, Dope Living TV Live. Hey, got to tell you right off the bat, the views that are expressed in this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Having said that, man, we want to get into this, all right? So I'm from a small town in the Midwest, Gary, Indiana. And in Gary, man, you know, anybody that's done anything successfully, anybody knows anybody from Gary, we work for everything that we get. Everything that we get, we work hard. All right. But you know, times are different, times have changed, and a lot of things are going on. There was a discussion that was going on Facebook that I was checking out. And I thought about it, and I'm like, hey man, that needs to be talked about on a big level. So I invited a few people to come on here and speak on it. And again, everybody that I put on here, you know, I try to represent my city to the fullest. So basically, man, you know, y'all check us out and y'all see how we ride. Okay, this is GI in the house tonight for real. All right, starting off with my brother who started that conversation. Let's everybody say hello to Coach Larry Upshaw.
How y'all doing, everybody?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Not much, man. Just maintaining.
Yes, sir. It was a decent conversation that was going on, man. But you know, I know you trying to look for some solutions as opposed to just the rhetoric. You know, I mean, tell everybody what the conversation was about.
Just being a solution-driven person. I've been around Gary all my life. You know, play sports, and you know, it's either sports or gangs, and I chose sports. And all the kids that I see coming up, you know, I want them to find a way out. You know what I'm saying? It was hard for me to get out, and I still ended up back here. Not saying that's a bad thing, uh, but I want to see them do better than I did. So the question was given, you know what I'm saying? I posed the question like, you know, what is it about this area, you know, Gary, Indiana, Northwest Indiana, you know, that makes it, you know, that gives a bad taste to people who's not from here. And that goes with basketball, education, you know, business, you know, anything. I mean, if you're from Gary, you know, it's hard to make it. I don't understand why like my people in the city not afforded the same opportunities. You know, we 20 minutes from Chicago, we right by Indianapolis. Like it's like, do I have to move to be successful? I don't want to.
Right, and it's what you're teaching the kids as well. Okay, I got a young man on here right now that I want to bring on too. His name is Mr. Shaquille Lee. Okay, call him Shaq. He's from Gary, but this guy's a Shaq. I don't know exactly what you do. I know you're a personal trainer, a strength coach. Tell everybody about yourself.
Hey, man, what's up, man? Right now, I'm a assistant strength and conditioning coach with University of Notre Dame football program. So, I mean, and I got some good news. You know, I haven't told nobody yet, but I actually just got offered a position at Syracuse University in New York, and I accepted that. So right after our spring ball game this weekend, I'll be moving to New York. So.
Dude, that's fantastic, man. Okay, this guy went to Thea Bowman in Gary, Indiana. All right,
Yeah.
and you know, Shaquille, tell everybody, man, you know, because I know the transition was not exactly smooth for you. Am I correct?
No, it wasn't. So, you know, coming from Gary, you know, I came up playing football and all that stuff like that. Went to Bowman. Well, I started out from Grand Park, so I went to Franklin, went to Pulaski, then I ended up at Bowman in high school. And then, you know, from there, just sports kind of got me out. Well, you know, my senior year, you know, you was there. I lost my dad or whatever like that. My senior
Right.
year high school, and you know, that was kind of hard for me. And then, you know, I had a son too my junior year, so at that point, you know, I knew like I had to do better. You know, what I mean, I really couldn't follow my father's footsteps, so I wanted to find a way to get out. You know, and I used football to do that. So, you know, coming up, I was supposed to go to St. Joseph and all that stuff like that. The coaches kind of played me over, and I ended up going to Indiana State, you know, and walking on there and stuff like that. So after I stopped playing football. You know, I got into the strength conditioning scene, and then I really just took off from there, grinding. Man, I ended up at Indiana State, then I moved on to intern with University of Oregon, then University of Kentucky, and then I ended up getting my first assistant with Missouri Southern, and then from there I came to Notre Dame, and you know now I'm just still climbing up the ladder. But you know, it was kind of bumpy at first, so I'm just happy that I'm on track right now.
And I remember talking to you, man, back when you was in high school, and I was just telling you, man, because you was going through it.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, man, hey, keep your head up, dude. You're gonna be one of those that's shining. Look, all these latest, there you go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it all paid off. You know,
it did all pay off. But see, Larry, and that's the thing. Everybody's not a Shaquille.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't have his drive. And this dude went through, I call it hell. But you know, everybody. There's a lot of kids, and I know that you teach, Larry. I've been knowing you for 2 years, man. I know that you teach, and you teach the guys as well as the girls how to be adults. You know, young adults, I should say. You teach them to keep their academics up. You know, you teach them to be, good people. And the question that came to me was like, you're absolutely right. All right. Why is the Midwest, preferably Gary, Indiana, looked over, period. You know, everybody say, hey, to Gina Gatson.
Hi, good people.
And before you say anything, I want to add my guy, LaRon Golden. What's going on, LaRon?
What's going on, man?
It's another guy that came out of Gary, played football, went to college, and the transition was not a great transition, for him. He had to literally not pick and choose, but claw and scrape his way just to get to the college level, to the college level. I mean, LaRon, tell him about your story real quick.
So yeah, like you said, from Gary, I went to Theo Bowman. And coming from Bowman, man, like just knowing the history about Bowman, if anybody knows about Bowman, it's a basketball school. Like, go down the state almost every year. Had a legendary coach and athletic director, Marvin Ray, rest his soul. And with me, I didn't start playing football until like 7th, 8th grade.
Right.
So I didn't have like really much like football background. And then my sophomore year, I believe it was, I ended up having a heart condition where I didn't play football at all. They told me you would never play football again, like pick another sport. And I'm like, nah, like I was determined. I'm like, I had my brothers, Antonio, Reese. They stood by my side and everything. And coming off my clearance of my heart condition and everything, I received a full ride scholarship to go to Northern Illinois. And then after that, I'm sorry, my son. After that, they snatched my scholarship. Not because of anything I did. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get my son together.
No, that's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Theo Bowman. That's where my granddaughter goes.
Okay. But the thing that we want to kind of about though is that why can't, because there's some, like, I know for a fact Shaquille was one of the guys that you couldn't stop in that field. Okay, I mean you try to, if you ran towards Shaquille, you're gonna get knocked down. Okay, period. LaRon was a guy that if you put the ball in his hand, he's gone. It's over. Okay, it's gone. These are very talented individuals. Larry, you literally brought up, and if you can debate me on this, Eugene German. You did his coaching. You did it even after he got in college. He came back. Who did he seek out? You. Okay. My thing is, you got, like, right now we got the young lady who's just went to the WNBA. We got Darius Garland, who plays for I forgot what team it is.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, but that's two people. You got the NFL draft coming up tomorrow. We ain't got nobody, So my thing is, and I just want to echo what you were saying, in that conversation, man. Why? What else can you do? What else? I mean, and Shaquille and LaRon, y'all can, and Jeannie, you can chime in at any time. What else can you do if you've already groomed these kids and you've shown them the way, and they've done everything that they're supposed to do. They're getting the grades. They're not getting in trouble. You know, they're coming to school. They're doing everything. What more can you do? I mean, I don't know if there's an answer for that.
Just the. At first, I thought it was just lack of resources. I mean, but you know, you go visit places in Texas, and you know, you down in Indianapolis and all the other bigger cities, and they have the same resources. Maybe a little more. Maybe they're a little bit more upkept, but it's the same resources. You know, it's just our mentality here has to change in the sense that we got to stop pulling each other down. Like, uh, if a kid is on his way out, like everybody needs to get behind him and push him. Like I feel like Dana got the support of everybody, and I think the kids that's coming up behind her need to get that same support.
But how do you get them to get the people behind that? Okay, like I
don't know.
I can speak from, you know, because I've seen Shaquille and I've seen LeBron, okay, and I can speak. I know Shaquille was a quiet dude, okay, but he had a lot of friends, all right, but he did what he was supposed to do, all right, but he did not get it easy. Didn't get it easy. LeBron, go ahead, Shaquille.
No, I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Go ahead, Shaq. My bad.
No, I was saying, yeah, it's really hard because, like, I mean, you really gotta be self-driven too, as well, you know, to get it. But I mean, of course, all athletes are. Well, not all, but you know, 80% of athletes gonna be self-driven, you know, and just coming from where we coming from, we gonna have a go get it mindset either way it go. So I mean, it's really hard to answer that question because I mean, being like where I'm at, like Notre Dame, we got a guy from Maryville coming in this summer, freshman. But if you look at our stat trackers and stuff like that, there's nobody else like even in this area that's on there. You know, like that's in that area that's on there. And with big schools being so close, you know, it's like they still overlooking like if it is talent there. You know, so it's really hard to answer that question.
Hey, like here's the point. Like I'm really trying to drive home. Like 21st century basketball program. It's like Bowman like set the standard, you know. And shout out to Marvin Ray. He graduated from Roosevelt. That's where I graduated from. He kind of mentored me in the game, and we've had 5 or 6 kids go Division I when we should have had maybe 15 to 20. You know what I'm saying? And now you just have kids who should have been playing or should have been getting scholarships that never got them. It's like, what do we need to do, like, as a community to bring the coaches here to get these kids out of here so those kids can get out and come back and pull some more kids out?
Well, we have to deal with a lot of stereotypes here too. That's one of the biggest problems that comes along with it. You hear the name Gary and people already have negative thoughts. You know, I work in Schaumburg and I had so many people that meet me and say, "Man, I didn't know you were from Gary. You're different than the people there." Different how? I draw the same blood. I was raised, you know, the same way everyone else. I'm not different. And so you have the stigmatism tied to Gary. Not only that, but think about the people who do make it out of here. They have to set a precedence too. How many of them reach back for some of these athletes like LeBron or Shaquille? How many of them reach back and try to pull others from Gary up to where they are? They make it, and hey, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
So we need some more of that mentoring for those who are successful to reach back and have an impact here.
Go ahead, LeBron.
Yeah, I was just piggybacking off a comment that was made earlier, just about like having the resources. I think that's one main reason why our area get overlooked, honestly, because you said that we have the same resources that these other areas have, and honestly, I disagree. Because like I said, I came from Bowman. My weight room was the size of my bedroom right now. We had 2 racks. We had not enough weights to really put the proper weight on it. We never had a football field, you know, so we never even had the opportunity for scouts to say, "Oh, we're going to Bowman Academy to watch a football game." Never. Like it was never done because we never had a field. So I think that's another reason why. Like we don't have the resources that like I went to school, like just to finish up on my story a little bit. After NIU took that scholarship, I ended up getting a full ride scholarship to go play football at Austin Peay State in Tennessee. It was a whole different ball game. I went from being one of the guys to being just one of the guys. Like, and that's because of not just my work ethic, because I feel like I put in a work ethic. Like I was doing all I needed to do. But you had guys that was playing football year round. You had guys that had a football field to go to and train at, like, you know, at whatever time they wanted to. They had a weight room where their athletic director opening up to them even after they graduate. And all those resources wasn't given to us. Even after we graduate, even we had like that incident don't even need to be said, but we had a professional athlete come back to a school and we got escorted out. And so that's another reason why I feel like we're such at a disadvantage, because for one, we don't have the resources, and two, even when someone does want to come back and give back, it's like it's not always welcome with open arms. Like you have some older people who's kind of like stuck in their ways. That's kind of like, this the way we've been doing it for so long. This the way it's gonna be done. Like I said, a professional athlete came into his old high school where he's up on the wall. I'm talking as a state champion. I'm talking as the Hall of Fame in the school and everything. And we was escorted out because we was no longer students there. Why is that? We don't have anywhere else to work out. So resources is a big thing. Like resources is a big. I feel like if I had the proper weight room, if I had the proper track and field or stadium stairs to go up and 5 o'clock in the morning, everything at my own turf, things would be different. You know, so I think that's another reason why we're like looked past. We don't have the same resources.
Man, I agree with everything you saying, but everything that they didn't do for y'all over there, like I'm doing for these kids. Like we get up, we got a breakfast club where we get up in the morning and work out. You know what I'm saying? We in the gym after school. We got a study table. You know, I got kids with 3.5 GPAs and associate degrees, and it's hard for them to get a scholarship. Like they talented. It's like, but the talent never gets seen. You know, we playing down in Indianapolis. You know, we traveling here, we traveling there. You know, we playing the top teams. Even though we're a small school, we said we trying to set a precedent so people can basically respect Gary.
I understand
I'm
that.
Tag that slogan. I want that on my t-shirts next year. Respect Gary.
Let's do it, man. I got you. Don't worry about it.
Respect the G.
Hey,
Respect the G. Facts.
Feel it.
All right, dope living gear. Let's go. Hey, man. So is it okay now? As far as that visibility goes, understanding that it's a little different now. Should the parents have some responsibility to make sure that, you know, they support a little bit more? Because I know at the times when these guys were going to school, okay, parents were there, but you know, we had Coach Marv to kind of cushion some of that blow. All right, but now, you know, I think the only one I really hear about is you, coach from West Side. All right, and there's other sports in basketball and football though. Okay, and there are people that are excelling at these sports. So here's the thing I might suggest. These parents, cell phones all got cameras. Film your child. Film somebody else's child. It ain't about, you know, I'll film your child for $20 or this and that. Film that child and send those tapes, send those videos. Once you put them together, send them out to these top schools, okay? Because they don't know. They're not being told about here. You know what I'm saying? They're not being told. And the other question that we need, and I got somebody that's coming on in a little about 30 minutes. He's a regular panel member, but he's getting ready to start with an NBA expansion team, the Las Vegas Stars. He's on the journey to make that happen. All right, and I want him to talk about, once these kids are in college, how do people like him get people to his team? You know what I'm saying? Because we need to, you know, there's so many, and it pissed me off, I'm not gonna lie, when you had that conversation, because nobody was really answering your question. You know?
No, everybody was just, you know, making, I don't want to say complaining. I'm trying to find a solution.
Right.
what do I need to do different to help my kids and any other kid around this city, get a fair shot. You know what
And
I'm
that's what,
saying? And that's what.
yeah.
And now what they do with that shot is gonna be left up to them. Like, but getting it shouldn't have to be this way. It shouldn't have to be this difficult. You're doing everything. You're doing X, Y, Z, and you still getting overlooked.
Now, now you got people like another guy that came out of Bowman, and I'm kind of segregating this show to my hometown, Gary, Indiana. Antonio Pipkin is a guy that came out and relentlessly did his thing, okay, and he's playing pro ball in overseas, all right. And there's another guy, Duan Marrero, went out there, okay. We got those guys, but see, everybody's not going to make it in the NFL or NBA or whatever, okay. But we want to make sure that and what you're doing is making sure through sports, just as LeBron did, just as Shaquille is excelling at tremendously, is they get to college, they play, but they get that other education as well to get them to the levels that these guys have gotten to now. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's what you do. And Gina, it's to me, times change every single year. And Larry, I've been around you for a few years, so I know the struggles that you're going through. But Gina, what do you think would be not necessarily the solution, but a bridge, starting a conversation, a bigger conversation outside of this show here? What would be the bigger conversation to be had?
Well, I really don't know how the change can be made, because I'm one of those who have been for years trying to make some changes here. I know networking is a huge thing. You have to get in contact with the right people. Sometimes it's a
hold on. Let's start right there and hold the thought, okay? Getting in contact, Coach, with the right people. Is that being done? I know you know a lot of people, but are those people that you can depend on and can rely on that will get your kids to that next level? You got a person like Shaquille who's in a college right now, and he just said you got one guy coming from Maryville.
Nobody else even on the board.
Nobody's on the board. Where's the disconnect? Go ahead, LeBron.
I also believe exposure. I know, like Coach said, they say he's taking his guys to Indianapolis, and he's taking them here and they're taking them there, and these guys got good grades. I also just feel like exposure is like one of the things that we're missing out on. I know, just speaking off my experience, like we didn't have much exposure unless like we went and did it ourselves. Like I feel like to a certain extent, the generation of like before us, like somewhat failed us like that, because like if I didn't have Marvin, I probably wouldn't have went to school because off athletics anyways, because I feel like the right phone calls wasn't being made. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the right phone calls to the right people have to be made in order to get that exposure, in order to get like those recruits at the school. So if we had just a little bit more exposure, like I feel like people for whatever reason is scared of Gary, and a lot of coaches don't like coming to Gary for that reason. Like they've said it. I've heard college coaches say that. Like, you sure you want me to come through Gary? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I got, I got some homies out there, some little homies out there that's still balling. Like they trying to make it out just like I did. But a lot of people are scared to come through Gary and just feel like with a stereotype, like everybody here is just gonna rob you. Everybody here just want to, get the up on you, whatever the case is. When that's not really, that's really not the case. And I think that's just one other way we can bridge that gap is just making sure these kids have exposure, like making sure film is getting put out, making sure they talking to coaches, making sure they going to camps. Because I learned so much at camps that I feel like I wouldn't have learned just, just playing a game. You know what I'm saying? So those exposure things, that's important. And then a lot of people, a lot of families don't have the money to like send their kids to camps like how I was fortunate enough to have. But like I know we had like camps that was coming to like Crown Point and things like that, like Ball State. When I was a freshman, Ball State came to Crown Point, and that helped out. that helped out tremendously. Like that was a big exposure for me because I'm in 8th grade. I'm projected to start as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? Got this this varsity body frame and everything like that. But I just needed exposure. Like I just needed somebody to say, hey, that guy can at least be something. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think we have that. I think that's another reason why we getting overlooked.
Right. Jeff Relevant says, sounds like to him that community was more involved back in the day. It seems as if there needs to be more community within sports. Hey, Shaquille, what do you think about all of
that? About so I just like LeBron was saying,
I definitely agree with that.
I think the exposure is a main thing that's the problem, because like you talk to guys that's like at Notre Dame and stuff like that, and they was on like national ranked teams or like teams that's playing everywhere, like not just, you know, Indiana, but Florida, you know, maybe the West Coast, you know, Texas, you know, like just traveling all around, like when you're not in school, like over the summer and like all the traveling teams and stuff like that. I think that is a big deal because that's where a lot of the college scouts, you know, have a lot of time, have a lot more time in the summer. So they get out and see more people during those times than like during the school year. Cause like, I know for a fact that like when we have a camp and when we have camps and stuff like that, the coaches see them at the camps and stuff like that, you know, they going to pick the top tier guys, the guys that they see got the measurables, the height, the length, you know, all that stuff like that. But then that's when the season started, stuff like that, that's when they go back and check up on them kids. So I think that in the summertime and with the travel teams and stuff like that, getting into bigger tournaments and stuff like that will help out when it comes to being overlooked and things like that.
So you're saying that basically, since they're not coming here to us, we need to get to them.
Right. Exactly. Basically. Get to them. And then once you get to them and they start seeing and getting more and more kids, I feel like then they'll make that a destination. Like I got this connect with this coach. I'm gonna at least go check it out, you know, and see if I could find a guy that came, like a guy that I brought out the year before that or something like that. So I think kids, you need like a feeder, you know, like a feeder coach, a feeder system.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly, and I think that's exactly the word that needs to be kept in everybody's mind: a feeder system, okay, of a trail of how to get to those people. Okay, you want to say something, Coach?
And I was just agreeing with what he said about the exposure.
Okay,
there's so many different AAU ball clubs in this one little city. You know, all of the kids are split up. And they don't really understand, like, not to talk about the kid from Westside or anything. Like, I feel like some of those kids needed to be on that team with him to get seen. Like, he's getting seen. He got seen. You know, and as a community, I think instead of embracing that, you know, he playing over in Chicago, and they never even think about Gary. Like, he had a semi-state team, and they only had one other player get signed to Division I when the talent was there. You know, they got guys that's 6'9", 6'5", they can jump out of the gym. It's got to go to another year of prep school or, you know, take an alternate route. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just shouldn't have to be that way when the talent is there. It's way better. The talent is just way better here than people give us credit for.
Yeah, and it's a concentrated amount of talent. Courtney Bird says that Gary's a solid, beautiful community. It's more communal than most people think, which allows for more people to connect. Okay, but we have to connect, and that's a beautiful thought, Courtney. Thank you. But we need to connect the right way. You know, Shaquille mentioned the feeder system. Is it? And I'm just asking, anybody can answer. Well, Gina, you know, I took you out of your thought. I'm sorry. You want to finish your thought? Gina froze up, so she'll come back. But I know, and I can only speak from the experience that I've had with Shaquille and LaRon at Thea Bowman. Thea Bowman, as LaRon said, had a small weight room. They didn't have, like for football, they didn't have the equipment that to practice with. They didn't. They had to do everything on their own, which I know made them better players, made them better people because they understood that they had to do it on their own. Everybody isn't like that, though. Some people feel entitled. And I think that entitlement is what messes a lot of people up.
Totally agree. Definitely agree on that. I could man, entitlement like that just hit home, because just to, like you said, just to talk about our weight room, man. Like when I went to Austin P, it's a D1. They had just built a new stadium, just built a new weight room in our stadium and everything. And like you had some people that were like complaining about like not having this or what they had in their high school. And I'm in the weight room like starstruck, like, man, we got all this, we got this to work out with, we got that, we got this. Like I'm in love. Like I was in the weight room like crazy. Like I'm like, I don't want to leave here because there's so much. But you got kids nowadays, it's like they just depended on just talent. Like, yeah, I can jump out the gym, or yeah, I got a jump shot. But like that's only gonna take you so far. Like a lot of these kids thinking they don't have to put in that extra effort because of whatever reason, because of one, who they know, or maybe because they are the star player on their team. Like I said, I was the star player on my team. I went from being the guy to one of the guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like our kids are just so like just trapped in just Gary or just Northwest Indiana or even just Indiana, period. Like where they don't think about or even see like the broader competition. They don't know what kids in Texas are doing because they don't see it. They don't know what kids even in Wisconsin is doing because they don't see it. Like they just see that, all right, we see one kid over there, I'm better than him, now I'm the best in the state. It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't work like that. I'm the best in Gary. Like who cares about being the best in Gary? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
I wanna be the best in the nation. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the best in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's just the type of confidence that I have. Nobody can beat me. Like that's just the type of confidence that needs to be instilled in these kids, as well as like you said, just work ethic, because nothing's gonna be handed to you at all whatsoever. It don't matter who you know. It don't matter how high you could jump. It don't matter how hard you run. Nothing's gonna be handed to you because the next man is working just as hard to get to your spot. And once he gets to your spot, he's gonna keep eating to get even better. And that's what they missing. Like we get too complex. We get way too complex because we feel like we the best at whatever level this is. And it really don't even mean much. It stays here. Like, why not be the best all over? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Go ahead, Shaquille.
And yeah, and I mean, just to say like what he's like, to piggyback off what he's saying, and here we call it like we de-recruit. Like once you get in, like all those stars you was and stuff like that, that goes out the window. Like
There you go.
like we just got a 5-star, and he actually from Avon, Indiana, lineman Blake Fisher, 5-star. But he got in, he can't even complete one workout. You know, like
Wow.
you get, you know what I mean. He had to he good now, but like his first couple of weeks he was struggling bad. You know, like. And then, in high school, you know, of course, you're bigger than everybody, and you punishing everybody. I mean, he gonna end up a great player, and he'll probably be in the NFL as well. But you know, just coming in, like everybody's just as good as you was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just like I was just piggybacking off that, we just call it basically you de-recruited after you get in. All them stars just go in the trash. Now you got it. Now it's not what you did. It's not what you're going to do.
So is it the drive? Because I know, Shaq, I've seen some of your profiles, man, and I know that you push them, okay, to be the best they can be, man. And when they come, like you just said, you de-recruit them, okay. Do you get a lot of those? And Coach, I want you to piggyback on that too, because I've seen how you do your players as well, okay. Is it the drive that starts this communication with others? Anybody can answer.
Well, when we get kids, like I like to push them in practice past anything harder than what a game gonna ever be like. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell them, you practicing basketball, but you building character. You know, you showing that you can work within a team, and that goes far. Like in the professional field, like you'll be able to get a better job. You'll be able to run your own business. You know, you instilling work ethic in these kids, and I think that translates. Like every kid that's came out of my program, any school that they end up at, they always excel because the work that they put in before they got there.
But they have you. Okay. A lot of them don't. they got the skills, they got the drive, but they don't have people like yourself, like Shaq, like LeBron. You know, they don't have people like you guys. Okay, how do you get these guys that say, okay, you know, because I've seen a lot of guys go through Marv's situation, and you know, they had mouths on them. You know, they were like, I already know I'm good. Like LeBron was talking about, I already know I'm good. So, you know, what can you teach me? Okay, I mean, how do you get through to somebody like that?
I mean, that's why you beef up the schedule. That's why you take them to places like you play the best. You know, you take them down there and let them get their head beat in for a minute, and then it kind of humble 'em. You know what I mean? Like this year, like I had some gritty freshmen. They came in, they big, bad, and bold. You know, we run up against teams like Christmas Addicts and Chester. We playing everybody big. Like everybody looks at us like, oh, they're a small school. The same way they probably did Bowman. Like that's a small school. But next year, everybody who gave us a lick, we gonna get our lick back. It's like the build up. It's like you gotta take them where they at the bottom, and it shows like either they gonna fight with you or they gonna leave. Like everybody can't play. Everybody not gonna make it. Everybody not gonna make my team. Everybody can't go through my summer training. Everybody don't make it to the end. But if you do, that's special. Like those the ones that you have the room to go back and get the kids that didn't make it and bring them along as well. And that's where the character building come at. It's like if they make it out, they gonna come back and grab somebody else, and then that person can grab two people, and that's the train we got to start. Like it's the push I was really trying to get to. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect everybody to start responding the way they did. You know, I never knew like I wanted to write it, but I just stopped. I never knew everybody had this many feelings about it. Like we
Right.
should have been did something.
And as many people that were
Like, do we need
talking,
to get the mayor involved? Do we need to get
yes,
somebody else involved
Absolutely.
that got
Absolutely.
some clout that can pull everybody
Absolutely.
together?
But that also goes back to what Jeff Relaford said. We don't have the community support like we used to. How many parents are going to these games to see the players or see their kids play? How many? I mean, back when we were in high school, Greg, you know, when we had a football game, everybody in the city was at that game. We don't have that now. So the community is not involved. So that we're not going to be on the map like the rest of the cities.
right. So let me ask you this though. Here's a good question. Well, I think it's a good question. Do the recruiters or the bigger schools, the D1 schools, have this? That's only a charter school mentality. They're not a high school. They're a charter school, so they're not a real school. You know, do they have that mentality? Go ahead, LeBron.
No, I don't believe so. Nah, because I know,
No.
and just like again, speaking from my experience, I know Brentwood Academy. It's out in Nashville. It's a charter school, real high class school. You know what I'm saying? But that's where Darius Garland came from. You know what I'm saying? Like Darius Garland from Gary, Indiana, went to Brentwood Academy, and he's doing his thing in the league now. So I don't think people really like. I don't think the schools really, or recruiters anyways, but like, oh, that's a charter school. That's not really credible or whatever like that is. So I don't think so.
Okay, Shaquille.
Yeah, I really think that. Well, I know for a fact that they don't go off that. Like we got a lot of people from like private schools and stuff like that, and I think they really just going off of numbers and they going off exposure. Like to be honest, because like somebody could have like somebody in Gary could probably have better numbers than somebody in Florida or something like that, or in Texas or Tennessee or whatever. But that coach ain't seeing them just because of the exposure. Like
Mm,
just because like the numbers and everything could be better, the measurables could be better and everything, but those scouts just not seeing them, and that just go back to like what we were saying earlier. I just feel like they just got to be seen, you know what I mean? So like, because like if you had it don't even matter. Like if you at a summer league game, if you at a summer league game in Florida, it's gonna be tons of scouts in the crowd, so just off being there and somebody seeing you, then once you spark that interest, then what I mean, it go from there and you'll take off from there, because then they'll dig deeper. Then they're like, oh, his numbers, what I mean, they might compare numbers and stuff like that. They might want to see more film, more tape and all that stuff like that. But I think you just gotta get that one spark of interest, you know, and that's just being seen.
Okay, so here, you know what I want to do, Larry, and hopefully I can make this happen, Gina. Everybody knows, or if you don't know, I did television for a while, and I still do it. I want to see, and I'm gonna talk to a few people to see if we can get a summer league going, but I want it to be televised. All right. And if we did something like that and invited a few people, maybe not the top D1 coaches, but some D1 coaches to come out if we can, because I think the perfect place to do it would have to have security though. See, that's my thing. A gang of security. Tolliston Park, and we fixed the boards and everything. Okay, but it has a good atmosphere. I think that would be a nice place to do it. Okay, I want to do it outside. Okay, with something like that, do you think LeRon would bring some attention to this area?
Yeah, absolutely. Even with just what they did last summer, like during COVID or whatever, when everybody was out there hooping and everything, just like kind of bringing some of the best talents in the area. It was recorded, and it was recorded off somebody's phone, but it went viral. You know what I'm saying? So like we had like something with some real production. Like, look, we got this talent in Gary, Indiana. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Gary has rich history. I don't care what nobody said about Gary and what it looks like now. We got rich history. We stand on the gold mine. That's how the old heads put it to me, and that's how I truly feel. Like, we on a gold mine. Like, if you think about it, we the second largest city with the most African Americans. Gary, Indiana. You know what I'm saying? After Detroit.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we all put, like, if everybody say they got the common goal, I'll be wondering, like, what be the disconnect? Like, if everybody want to put Gary on the map and get Gary exposure, like, what be the disconnect? So I do feel like if something like that was to happen, and people was calling, like, Tolliston Park the new Rucker Park. You know who was at Rucker? Kobe, Fat Joe, LeBron. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was getting that type of exposure. Not saying, like, we had those type of celebrities out there, but we was getting that type of, like, comparison, like, hey, this the new big thing. So I honestly feel like if something was really put together, like you said, with security, we got different businesses in our area, many food trucks. Man, we put something together nice for the community. I feel like, man, there's no limit to how far that can go for real.
What you think, Coach? What you think, Coach?
Well, you know what I want to add to that? One thing that I think is a disconnect is not involving the mayor and, some of the politicians that's pushing for so-called change in Gary. They should be involved in things like this. I mean, that's one of the networking that should be had anyway. I know Eddie Melton he drives for change in Gary. These are the people that you guys should be reaching out to make a difference.
But will they listen? That's the thing too. Like, I know also, like, when all this happened with last year when they was doing the basketballs and stuff, and like, this is the one time everybody was like just cooling, and like, it was no shooting, it was no fighting, it was no gang banging, it wasn't no craziness going on. The one time I can honestly say, like, hey, that was a cool event and it was smooth, and it was like we didn't get the same support from our community leaders. Like, they was going around putting blocks on the rims, you know what I'm saying? Like, this the one way that our community can come together. Why would you stop that? Like, they putting blocks for you can't even shoot in the rims no more. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that was like and this, like, and you say the mayor, that was like his first thing he did when he got in the office.
Really?
It was like, yeah, no more hooping outside. It was like, dang, that's what finally got the kids to come together and say, like, all right, we cool. That's what brought the east side and the west side together, because that was being done. East side and the west side, they hooping against each other, but it's like it was all out of love and competition.
Was it due to the pandemic?
I don't necessarily know, but I mean, that could have been the case.
Okay, but the pandemic is lifting now. Okay,
you know what? I'm a fighter. If somebody tell me no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going until I find somebody to say yes.
And see, I've been sitting and thinking about this since I saw the conversation that Upshaw had, and I said, look, first I told him, I said, I got an idea. I wanted you to come on here. I definitely wanted to get Shaquille on here because I know he's in the college level as a strength coach. I want
to share some good stuff.
Yeah, I wanted him to put some knowledge out there, put some stuff out there, and I wanted LeBron because he's gone through the system as well. All right, and like I said, I invited a couple more are going to come, but I'm like this, man. Something, and I don't want to say sensational, but something big has to happen in order to, because again, as Gina said, and LeBron said, we need to come back. People that have done things, fantastic things, got out of here, and I'm guilty myself. Need to come back and do something to make sure that these kids get to what they need to, because they're the next level. That's the when we talk about generational wealth. Okay, yeah, we provide it for our sons, but we're supposed to provide it for our community as well. All right, so yeah, I want to start a conversation so that maybe midsummer, late summer, we can get something like that going. Okay, and I hope that I get you guys. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for just your support, just your verbal support, saying, hey, yeah, I think it'll be great. Okay, I think we should try to do something like that and invite these kids who are trying to do something. We want to make it entertaining, but we want to make sure that we're showcasing the skills that these kids have.
Yeah.
All right, and we want to also and in the same token, it's going to put a good light on the city as well, because the city has had this stigma long enough. It's too long. We need to get that off of there. And I think something like that. And the other thing for me, and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, it needs to be continual. It doesn't need to do it 1 year and then stop. Matter of fact, I think it needs to be done quarterly, so that way it's fresh in the mind. Okay, Rutgers, that they do their thing, whatever they do out there. Okay, but right here in the Midwest, GI does their thing, and we do it continuously, and that way we'll start getting people from, maybe I can get some Chicago Bulls players, which I know some people, to come through and just sit down and watch. Okay, and then maybe they can get some friends to come, and so on and so on and so on. I think it's important, man, that we do put that light out there. Gina, you were saying something beforehand, and I interrupted you. What was that?
No, I spoke my piece. I just feel like we need to get people involved that's at the top and running the city. Even when it comes to local news stations, get them out here, get them, filming and getting it out there viral. It's so easy to do it. You can post a video and it can go viral just by, like you said, this person and this person and this person. You just got to keep pushing and keep getting the people to say yes. If you give up, there's never going to be a change.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing. So Coach, we're not done yet, but I just want, I hope this conversation that we're having is at least a bit more encouraging than what was going on with the Facebook conversation. And I got some more people coming, like I said.
Facebook.
That should be.
Go ahead. That was just something that was bothering me. Like I'm fighting for kids to get into school. I'm sending out film, letters, just trying to give them a fighting chance, because I know, if you don't get out of this city, if you're not doing something positive, the city will swallow you up. It'll swallow you up fast. As an 18-year-old, walking out of high school, you got to have some kind of plan. And I just want to make sure that the kids that come from my program, and any program, any kid in the city, they'll tell you, if they talk to me, anything I can do to help you, give me a call. And I want to be able to be that person that the kids can come to, and I can call the coach like, hey, I got a kid here,
and we got examples.
3.0, he's gonna be ready to play, or he's gonna be an asset to your program, not a liability. I just want to be able to help the community in that way. I feel like I had talent coming out of high school, but I didn't have anybody fighting to push me to the next level.
There you go. And see, that's why I wanted to particularly, I invited a lot, just so you guys know, I invited a lot of your ex classmates as well, LeBron, Shaquille, and they're probably watching, but I knew that, once Shaquille immediately got back with me and said, "Hey, man, no problem. All right, LeBron, same thing. I know you guys got other lives. You're doing some other things, okay? And you did get what you needed from that scholarship. You got an education, and you're doing some other things. And LeBron, I know that you're educating, all right, and you're teaching kids as well as you have your own business as well. And I encourage you guys to, anytime you get a chance to, and I know how hard it is now with the mentality of these kids now, because they're like, now you guys are old men, okay, to them. You guys, you can't tell them nothing, okay, but you're still young. You know a way to get to them, to talk to them. Shaquille, you got an opportunity to tell these guys exactly, because you and I hate to use the word, and I'm not even going to use it because the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily, let me stop all of that, but you, Shaquille, like I said, I remember talking to you the last time I saw you, bro, and your father had died, and you was just lost a little bit, okay, but you stayed focused. And LeBron, same thing, you stayed focused, okay. How do you get that focus, or tell these people, get a chance to tell these young kids who got these funky ass attitudes, and not, it ain't personal, they just got funky ass attitudes, okay? How do you get them to understand that, hey, it's something better than trying to be Billy Badass, trying to fight all the time and this and that? You got an opportunity, okay? And you guys are prime examples. How do you tell these kids there's more?
Like, I would like to think that, like, leading by example would show them, but like, that's really tough right now too. But it's like, you would think that would, show them that, like, all right, he did this, all right, let me go do this. You know what I mean? Like, if he did it, I could do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you would think that would be the way to go, but like, I think these days that's kind of out the window. So I mean, like here, like a coach told me that I used to work with, he's like, and it could go either way. You can like disagree with it or agree with it, but he like, you can't motivate nobody. Like, they saying, like, you can't motivate nobody. It has to come from internally. Like they have to have a why, or like they have to have something that they want to do that's greater for them to end up doing it. And it's like, and when he told me that, I kind of thought about it, like, you know what I mean? Like even the definition of motivate is to come from internally, So I thought about that, and it was like, what I mean, you may be right, but it's arguably you could go either side. But I just feel like, I mean, they see somebody do it. You should, what I mean? All right, he did it. Why not me? You know what I mean? Or I just feel like they just gotta have that why. It just gotta be bigger than them.
I stood right next to him. So if he can do it, I can do it. Everybody say hey to Chris Lane. Chris Lane is the guy one of the guys I was talking about. He's on the journey to own an NBA franchise, the Las Vegas Stars. And I know I pulled him away from a couple of things today. All right. Hey, man, the spot looked nice, Chris. I got to get that, man. I need that green screen.
Most definitely. No doubt.
So, Chris, we're talking about.
How's everyone doing today?
Hey, Chris.
How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
I'm all right.
Chris, just to introduce Coach Larry Upshaw is right next to you. He's a coach at 21st Century in Gary. Shaquille is right above him. Shaquille is the strength and conditioning coach at Notre Dame. And LeBron Golden, man, just an all-around good guy, man. He's an educator, and he played football as well. And these guys, we've had a great conversation about motivating kids to get to the next level. What do we need to do in order to showcase, in order to get more people seeing? And by the way, everybody, Chris is from Gary as well. How do we get people to recognize us, our city? How do we lift our city up?
I mean, when it comes to recruiting, and I know from the past, especially playing for Coach Heflin at Roosevelt, well, let me say this first. A person that was talking about motivation, that's 100%. You know what I'm saying? The player has to be motivated, but it's a lot of coaches that really have to do their part too in helping players get recruited. You know, it wasn't like it was back in the day. Send out videotapes because everything is online at your fingertips now. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to see, I forgot the kid that used to play for Bowman. Um, but he was getting a lot of looks when he was in school. When he graduated from school, I ain't hear nothing else from him. So I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, the kid has to be motivated, and one got his head on straight, and two, you know what I'm saying, the coaches sometimes have to help also in some type of way to get them seen. As far as getting Indiana, you know what I'm saying, we don't get the looks that everybody get because we don't have all the high schools that we used to have. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot more now.
You're probably in the bad zone because you're freezing up, okay? But if you're listening, now Coach Larry Upshaw is an exception to that, what you're saying, okay? Because he does everything, I'll say, right. He teaches his kids. He motivates the kids. He gives them options. He works them out. He does everything that a coach can do, sends their videos out. So, I mean, for a coach, as a coach, I think you've done everything that you can do without sacrificing your way of life, without sacrificing your peace, you know, without sacrificing your entire being. You've done everything you can do to help these kids. At some point, they got to do it. They got to do something on their own. It's just like in the entertainment business. What I did, you know, sometimes you have to sacrifice a lot. Okay, you have to. But you feel better when you do it yourself. And as Shaq was saying, you know, you would think that you have an example of what to do as opposed to what not to do, and those kids would eat that up. Okay, but I think the bigger force, the bigger draw is that the streets. You know, the streets is calling them harder than this career that they may or may not get. You know, I mean, you feel me on that, LeRon?
Yeah, no doubt, definitely. A lot of these kids, their role models is what they see. A lot of them only see what's in the streets. Like, you don't have a lot of people my age. Like, no disrespect to everyone that's older because I'm only 25, but you don't have a lot of people my age that's coming back and doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if they don't see that, huh?
He's a baby.
right. Nah, I'm an OG now. But no, but yeah, you don't have people like my age just coming back and doing it. You know what I'm saying? So like, if they don't see people around my age, which I'm not too far out of high school, they don't think that it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not too many like how you see the drug dealers or you got your gang bangers. You don't see like the ratio is like 10-1. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got me, you got your Shaqs, you got, you know what I'm saying, your John Bay Johnsons, Antonios, your Lonnie's that's gonna come back. That's not enough. You know what I'm saying? That's not enough at all. You know, that's only what, 6 people on. I mean, that's not just limited to us 6. That's just the person on top of my head. Right. But that's even still, that's not enough. Like, we need more like young people that's gonna come back and say, hey, I was just in your school, just in your shoes, probably just like 5, 6, 7 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I did it. I might have been, you know what I'm saying, I might have hung who I hung with, but I took this respective path and, you know, I made it out, or however you want to put it.
Right. And see, everybody's not going to make it in sports, okay? But if that sports scholarship can get you to the college with and pay for your college and get you to the next level, come on, man. I mean, and that's what Larry does, all right? And Chris, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, man, okay? That's what we need. People that are going to encourage you guys to, hey, and let them know the truth. You know, it's not easy. Everybody's not going to get in. There's a percentage of athletes that are going to get to the next level. Ademi, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Ademi Daw says they only gravitate towards the streets when other institutions have failed them, like the school and the family. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. That's a good comment right there.
That was one of my high school teammates right there.
That's my cousin.
My word. Yeah, he a good guy.
Yeah, that's a great comment, man. And IDM me. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your
Yeah.
name, man. But yeah, it's so important, man. That and I got to put that up there one more time. They gravitate towards the streets when
Yeah,
other
they do.
institutions have failed them. All right, and they know when they've been failed. They know exactly when they've been failed as far as the student athlete, and a lot of times they don't tell you. They just do it anyway. They just go. So I don't know, man. I'm so serious about, and I'm going to talk to people. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk to Chris about this as well to see if we can get something started to start that conversation, to change the narrative as to what I think about this city, the city of Gary. Um, I'm from there. Gina's from there. She's an author, award-winning author. And like I said, Chris is from there. Majority of the people that are on here, I got a DJ that's out in Nashville, Tennessee. He's from Gary. Okay. Who else we got on here? A restaurateur that's doing some big things from Gary. Who else? We got a lot of people that's from Gary. We also got some people that are from other countries that subscribe to Dope Living TV, that believe in everything that we say and do, because we try to keep it. We try to be honest here, all right? We want to talk about things that are necessary, and there's never been, I think, a time where we just segregated the show to Gary, Indiana. We let everybody know we're from Gary, because we always gonna rep Gary, but we never just relegated to Gary, Indiana, and the Midwest like this. Okay, so this is history for us. Okay, which is what we create 365, 24/7. You already know.
24/7.
You know. But we
Gotta
just want
respect
to
the
make
G.
sure.
I like that.
You got to, man. So Coach, what do you want to see?
Uh, just people, more support. You know what I'm saying? More motivation for the kids to do the right thing. Um, I hate to be cliche, but it takes a village. Sometimes I don't catch everything, but I be on my players' butt. I be on their backs all the time, getting them to class, getting them out of the streets, into the gym. I'm usually at the gym till 9 o'clock every day, and that's from in the morning. So from 5 a.m., I'm usually in there till 9 p.m. So there's no excuse. Like I tell them, there's no excuse for them not to get better. I just want to, all the deposits that they making, that's what I call them, they daily deposits. I just don't want them to come back void. Somebody
Yeah.
gotta see these kids working, and latch on to that work ethic. You know,
So it's just
that's
like
it, and have that
it's just
citywide, like,
it's just like with the entertainment as well, Chris. We get into this, and we I'll call it recording studios. We talked about this before. You got a recording studio on the east side. You got a recording studio on the west side. You got a recording studio in the Bronx. You got a recording studio everywhere. And you got 95 recording studios. But what would happen if everybody came together and made one big studio with all of the nice equipment y'all got, and all of these artists that are cool? And LeBron, you said it best. I don't care if I'm the best in Gary. Okay, I want to be best
yeah,
outside of Gary. Get outside of this box. You know what I'm saying? Courtney says she's an outsider from Atlanta, Georgia, but committed to the cause. I live in Marion County now, but the research is based in Lake County on health behaviors and coping strategies after being exposed to community violence. And I want to talk to you, make sure that we get a conversation with you as well, Courtney Burr. Tevin DeLosa, former athlete himself. Okay, if he spoke on this already, I apologize. But as a coach, what has Coach Upshaw seen as a major barrier while getting his kids out there, especially with how talented they are? That's a good question. You want to answer that, Coach?
I mean, the exposure. This was my first year as head coach. I've been in the program for 7 years, and before that, I was at Roosevelt, and it was just the exposure. Like, you get some coaches that don't want to travel. You get some that don't want to bring the best teams from other areas into your building to play. It's just about building relationships and the exposure. So that's why I'm trying to build as many relationships as I can, and just have an open door for my players and a spot where they can get better at, and hopefully, God willing, everything works out for them.
Chris, I know you got your hands on a whole bunch of other things, okay, but what do you think? So with your team, for instance, okay, you're going to be, once everything is said and done, you're going to be looking for players, okay. What do you think needs to be done to get the exposure? Because they don't let people come out from high school anymore, I don't think, to come to the pros or anything like that. But what do you think you are? Well, what do you look for in a player? Let's put it like that.
Well, there's going to be situations where, I mean, basketball IQ, personality, you know what I'm saying, how they work together with their teammates that they're with right now. But by the time the team gets to the NBA, like a whole lot of stuff is going to be different, especially with this overtime league they're trying to do from 16 to 18-year-olds. What the Ignite is doing with the G League, with players able to use a third party to get paid off their likeness now. I mean, it's going to be a totally different by the time this expansion team gets to the NBA. So it's going to be a step-by-step process to see, you know, what the new rules are going to be, how everything is going to play out now. Because if kids are getting and kids are getting paid early now, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's not a rush for them to get to the NBA, but how does that affect college, where we get pretty much 80% of our players from? You know what I'm saying? So like I said, we gotta see how everything is gonna migrate and change by then. So
let me ask you this: does an NBA team look at that high school level player to start, to start the conversation, and would they help that player if they see a player get to the next level?
Well, being a professional team, you really can't. How can I put it? You really can't, quote unquote, help a high school player because it'll affect their eligibility to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Any type of involvement that you have with an amateur will affect. That's why college kids are not getting paid right now. But with the way they're trying to move the narrative and change the wheel, a lot of NBA head offices do look at that high school, because now they're jumping from high school, or either going overseas, or jumping high school and going straight to the G League for their 19. So they'll be 1 year removed from high school in 19, and then they're able to come to the league. And so they end up changing that rule. You know what I'm saying? Even though it just got changed to that mid-late 2000s, but they're starting to come back. We got another collective bargaining agreement coming up, so we're going to see what's going to change on that situation too. So we won't know until after they decide what they want to do first. And when I mean by they, I'm talking about the National Basketball Association. See what they want to do first.
Interesting. What do you think about that, Coach Upshaw? I think you're on a little delay there, Coach Upshaw. But yeah, that's interesting, Chris. So it would ruin the eligibility for that player if your level looked at them.
It's not looking at them. It's pretty much helping them in any kind of way, monetary, anything of that nature. I mean, like, let's take Kobe, for instance. When Kobe was still in high school, he played basketball, but he played it at St. John's. It wasn't like he was going to the Philadelphia 76ers and play.
Right.
Not St. John's. Where did Eddie Jones play at? I forgot where Eddie Jones played at. Well, wherever Eddie Jones played, because that's where Eddie Jones first got with Kobe when he was in Philly. And it's just different stuff. It's different rules put into place that can make a child, or let me say, not a child, that can make a collegiate athlete ineligible to play in different types of ways.
Okay, everybody, welcome Coach Greg to the show. What's up, Coach Greg?
Hey, I'm sorry, fellas. I mean to come in with the late dropping, but what's going on, fellas? Happy to be here.
You all good. Chris told us he was going to be here. but we're just talking about trying to make a difference, trying to see what we can do to get some exposure to these kids that are not getting that exposure. And I hear that you making sure that happens, right?
So yeah, I try to make that happen, and by all means, like, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel per se, because I think there's some certain consistent things you need for getting kids exposed, especially for the collegiate level. One of the things that I think has gotten overlooked, and as more as I do my research in, there's so many things that we put out there for kids that scream, you can play, something that appears to be something that, kind of like your typical EYBL or your all your grassroots stuff, where you think guys are, Roy Williams is sitting somewhere on the sideline, or for a girl, your Rutgers coach is sitting somewhere on the sideline. And there's a lot of times that kids are going to some of those events and they will never come across a college coach, right? And then you have these national showcases. Some are legit, some are great, some really have the right pieces, some actually are legit as far as having the NCAA application, right, to where colleges can actually legally come in there and check you out and speak. And then there's some people that are just looking for $150 to $200 a kid and calling it All-American camp. So I say all that to say this. I know that my years of in the game have allowed me to build some connections collegiately, and I also know through my training and being an avid trainer, along with being a coach, I'm able to put events on like a showcase and actually have it so that a coach can see that a kid they've never seen before, right? Like, let's say they're going to an event where they've never seen said kid, and more than likely, most coaches aren't going to these places. But if you get your Division IIs, your Division IIIs, whatever, they'll go check out something that seems appealing. Mm-hmm. But what they're looking for is something that says, okay, this kid can translate to that next level. They're not playing basketball they're not going up and down and just playing a couple of full courts and a couple of king of the courts. We're actually showing some skills that translate to the next level. Because some kids can just flat out play and play well, but can they fit with a team? Can they fit with a certain scheme a coach wants to run?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like, I think that's really it. Like, let's start to decipher what's real and what's not. Between the grassroots stuff and these showcases. And let's start to do those particular things, because they're good when you do them right and you get the right exposure. But let's do it right. Let's do it right.
And that's the thing, if it's done. And I was just talking about trying to, the exposure, I guess, is one of the main things as far as getting kids to that level. And I was talking about trying to get something, because I'm from Gary, Chris is from Gary. Everybody that was up here, Shaquille is a strength and conditioning coach at Notre Dame, but he's from Gary. And I want to put something together, man. I want to put something. But as you said it, I see it's going to be a bigger task to get people to actually just watch. Do you think it's? I don't know where you're from, but do you think it would be because of the stigma of the city that it would be tough to do something like that, to get to set something up like that and get at least a Division II, Division III coaches to come and watch something like that from the city, in the city of Gary?
I know the stigma of Gary and even certain parts of Indiana, as much as I've heard it from guys I went to school with that are from the Midwest, right? So you know that you know it from that lens a little better than me. But in the times that I've been through Indiana and what I know about Indiana basketball, especially grassroots now, girls and boys, man, listen, if you are. I think more people need in those Northeast regions, where I'm at. I'm in Boston, right? I think these UR guys are the people that need to be we need to connect to. because Indiana's such a staple of basketball, right? Never mind Gary, but there's some dudes that come, from Gary and just outside of Gary that I'm sure that's just tough. That's just they bred different,
Right.
And it would be cool to see the lower levels, right? And I'm saying lower, like Division II, Division III, when you put something together and you get a showcase, or you get something where some of these kids who've just been overlooked can get in front of some coaches and really show what they can do. I don't know how that works in Indiana, because the two questions I would ask is, what's the dynamic like between the AAU coaches, the high school coaches, and all the trainers in your area? Because I think that is pivotal. That matters.
Right.
It's an issue we're kind of running into in Boston. Big fish in a small pond type deal. But I also think that in your case, in Gary, I just think there's so much good basketball there. Regardless of the environment or the stigma, I absolutely think you could pull it off. But that's from my lens, from a Boston lens.
Right. What do you think, Chris? You there, Chris? Michelle Upshaw says she thinks it's necessary for the city to commit to improving the city, completely revamping the Hudson Campbell Center for All Sports. Our kids deserve a true facility. We travel far for leagues, and it would be cool to have a league. So I think, Coach Greg, it's here in the city of Gary. They and one of the other guys had mentioned it. You got to go instead. Nobody's coming to Gary to watch a basketball game or to recruit. Any recruiters aren't coming there. You got to go to an AAU team or traveling team.
Really?
To get some, at least the hope of someone looking at you.
Well, let me ask you this: the big field houses, right? The big field houses with all the most where they do all the grassroots stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to travel? Indiana's pretty big. Do you have to travel in upwards of an hour or more to get to that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's really wow. So that's very similar to Boston or Roxbury here, where we don't have any of that stuff here, right? We'd have none of that stuff. But the minute spring rolls around and the kid needs to really get exposed, he could have had 30 a game for the City League, Boston City League. But if he does something even close to that in one of these tournaments that's about hour and 15 minutes away,
exactly.
All of a sudden you're gonna see someone on Instagram, hey, such and so have been offered, right? And it's like, well, wait a minute, this kid's been putting up 25, 30 all year,
Right.
So how do we get that early exposure in the cities, right? In the city of Gary, in the city of Boston. And so what I've done, I in the midst of the pandemic, like there just weren't a lot of gyms open. And one of our most famous basketball courts, right? It's kind of like our Rucker Park here in Boston. I just wanted to put something on for the girls, man, like a just giant open run deal gauntlet where the best of the best come. And we got a lot of girls talent in Massachusetts, period, but Boston too. And with a couple phone calls before you know it, it's 3 full courts, right? So when I put the event on, I put the flyer out, all of a sudden I'm staring at 50-something girls.
Wow.
In front of me. The first week, right? So every Wednesday we did it. Then the second week it was 75. And then the third week I was like, oh man, we need a cap.
Yeah.
And it just blew up, man, to the point where, like I said, a girl like Caroline Ducharme, who's McDonald's All-American, she came down, right? She tells her friends. We got college players from the likes of Michigan State, all the way down to, again, Florida, and again, these are girls that are from this area, but they've gone to school all over.
Wow.
And so we got likes of college players and high school, some of the top high school players, all in one setting for females. And it just took on a life of its own, man. So I'm not going to sit here and say I had the secret recipe, but I knew if I can get them all in one spot, not only coaches would come, not only prep schools would come and check out the younger ones. But once I got the college ones to come in, it became like this real sisterhood kind of inner working type deal. And some girls got connected to certain schools through their peers, through players.
There you go.
You know, so I think you need a little bit of that. You got to work outside the box and find ways to connect the players, older players to the younger ones, the ones that went to the big schools that still know coaches, the college players that want to get into coaching and training. Some of these dudes that have been running these showcases and tournaments for a while, they just need to age out, right? They just need to age out, and we need some new blood, some new life that want to get more of some city stuff involved. So that's my long-winded answer to that.
Oh no, we needed the long-winded answer. Okay, that's something that I think needed to be heard, and I think it always needs to be discussed. And I mentioned earlier where it doesn't. People do it and then they stop. All right, they do it and then they stop. I think it's something that needs to be, I think quarterly something should happen, and then if it gets to the point where, the resources are getting greater and greater and greater, because honestly, it's not about the money. It's about making sure that there's options for these kids that don't have those opportunities. You feel me?
100%, man. 100%. It's like a quarterly, right? Like, because think about it. Basketball is ultimately for a kid that really wants to make it somewhere. It's year round. It's 365.
Right.
So there's different gaps where I mean even just development. It's development, right? A kid can go from adding one part something to his game from January, right? Basketball season ends about March, April. Okay, he's added a little more.
Yep.
Right. Goes through the summer circuit, AAU, boom. Right. He's in the smack dead middle of the summer. He's been playing outside, working out, put on a little weight. Now he got some more, right? Maybe take a break, add a little more to his game, travel some more. Start of the school season, he might look different. Might have grew 2 inches, 3 inches, right? So again, just all those things are prevalent. But like you said, there's dudes who get burnt out, and that's very real. I thought that's very interesting you brought that up because I don't think that gets talked about enough.
It doesn't, and we're talking about a lot of things. And of course, last year we had our issue with the pandemic, and it kind of halted a lot of stuff. It stopped. It changed the way that the sports in high school was done or not done, and it changed a whole lot. Okay, but now I think it's time to get back to beautiful child. Time to get back to basics. Let's get back to getting these kids out here, because one of the other guys earlier said, they can gravitate to the streets easy. All right. Really easy. Hey, how you doing?
I was going to tell you, I was like, she might not stop waving until you get a wave back real quick.
That's all right, man. Hey, man, I love the kids. But yeah, man, that's the thing that we have to do. Chris, you got any comments on that? Chris is so busy. I miss my little brother, man, because he don't be on here like he used to be.
Nah, but listen, he's busy. Busy might be okay for Chris, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always every time he called me, I'd be like, "Oh man, you must have had a free slot in your day." I
know. Same here, man. It's I've been knowing Chris forever, and we could tell that story about Chris, whatever. But when he comes on, he'll come on, and he always spit knowledge. Okay, Gina, you got any comments on that? You got to unmute first. I got you.
No, I was on.
Just one of the things I want to say is just keep pushing. Keep trying. Sometimes it might seem like an uphill battle, and you don't have the support that you need, but you got to still keep pushing. If you give up, it's never going to happen. But if you keep trying, you just might have that breakthrough.
There you go, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to being an athlete, you have to be self-motivated first. And that's not just being an athlete. That's anything in life. If you want to be a business owner, if you want to work your way up the ladder in a job, you know what I'm saying? You have to really believe in yourself, motivate yourself, you know what I'm saying, and work hard at what your craft is. Like I said before, what I'm trying to do is just show people that we can be other than athletes and entertainers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being an athlete and an entertainer. There's nothing wrong with it. But I just want to expand their horizons when they see. So like I said before, Only seen 2 other people that look like me that's trying to do what I'm doing. That did what I'm trying to do, I should say.
Right.
So it's pretty much like Gina said, just work hard, stay to it, stay motivated. You know what I'm saying? Find motivation. You know what I'm saying? And just continue to sharpen your iron, as they say. That's
So,
what Yep.
Coach Greg, as a coach, man, we had a coach on here earlier from Gary, who, which is the reason why I did this. We had talked before, but he put a post out on Facebook, and he just said, I'm teaching my kids, I'm showing them, making sure that they, they get good grades. I'm making sure that they're good citizens, and making sure that they're trained properly. But nobody's looking. What do I do? Do you have an answer for them?
Wow. So it's funny. I got something like that from one of the guys that brought a young lady, young 8th grader to my program, and I said, and this girl's really good. Like, I'm like, how's nobody paying attention to her? Like, my God. And so here's a really transparent answer. If she's that good and she's looking to and her goal is a Division I school, right? Pretty much any Division I school. The truth is that the likelihood of her being just flat out recruited randomly by a Division I school, at this day and age it's like rare, right? And that's just the truth. That's not to say, right? That's not to speak ill on nobody's kid or game or whatever. But the way representation works now in 2021, you need a direct line to a Division I school. It's just the truth. You need a direct line, whether it be a coach, a trainer, a former player. You need a line. You need a line to a Division I school. Division II, you can build those lines, right? And obviously Division III, you can be found. And ultimately, if you're that good, somebody's gonna eventually find you, but it ain't gonna be on your time. Right? It's not gonna be on your time. That's for sure. And you may have to just keep playing upwards of places against certain people to do so. But I think one of the things we got to let people know and parents know in terms of getting the right information out there is that being at the top grassroots tournament and playing well does not mean you're going to get looked at and say, okay, you're going to get, you need to find you need to find the line. And so sometimes that means, again, building those connections through the right AAU programs and coaches, and the trainers and the high school coaches. And that's why I always say, like, what's the temperature in each city? What's the temperature of that dynamic? Because trust me, you will have high school coaches on one far side, AAU coaches on another far side, and the trainers that think they are the ones that are reasons why that particular kid is good on a whole nother side. And in some cases, some areas, you'll have them all blend in and be working together. So I just think it needs to be a perfect storm for that, man. I don't know how you tell a kid that's really good that hasn't been seen yet, okay, don't worry about it. Keep working. Because it's just not the truth. It's just not the truth.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Chris, you got something to say?
Oh no, Greg pretty much said it all, man. I mean, it's pretty much like you said, you got to have that connection. It's not about how good you play, it's about who you know most of the time.
It's like a job, yo. Think about any job we didn't have, like or some big like thing we didn't got into. You didn't somebody there was a line of some sort. If it was big enough, if it was just something, you probably worked and pushed it yourself. And so a lot of people just earn stuff, but more than likely when it's something big, there's a line somewhere. There's a connection. And it's really no different when Division I athletics is a business. You don't think that they're going to have a handprint on specifically who they want? Like they ain't just majority of these big schools are not just randomly walking into. No, they get calls at when does the NCAA tournament end? Well, usually in March. They'll get calls in March, say, hey, from whatever connection they got from that assistant coach, head coach, director of basketball operations, they get a call or email saying, hey, these 3 particular kids are going to be at this tournament. Check them. And they're going in there to check them specifically out. They're not looking for nothing else except now they're going to see some other kids and be like, oh, yeah, all right. But the head coach knows that who you're looking at, who we eyeing for next year. And so for that reason, they're definitely going to go ahead and look at those kids. And that particular kid that you're talking about, he better show out in a way that hasn't been shown.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's education for my ass,
bro. It's like I hate it. I hate it. I spend so much time at these tournaments, like with these girls, and it's like my girls are working, and there's not one, big coach in sight because majority of my girls are going to be in the Division 2 or Division 3 unit, and that's okay with me. I'm great with that. But ain't no huge coach. We ain't got a big stand of, that we ain't got those big crowds around our court unless it's like an overtime game, something like that. So,
man, the Emmy says that they're looking for kids to bring money into the institution. It's a business.
It's a business, man. It's a business. And big corporations, like if somebody comes and steals an interview, like just blows you away to an interview, right? More than likely, you still got a decision make because there's a candidate you've been eyeing before him. You know what I'm saying? Him or her. So that's really just how that works. Like they gotta say, man, we were not looking at this kid. And he just put 40 on the kid we was looking at. but the business side says, well, what if that was that kid's best day?
Mm-hmm.
And we historically we already put everything in place for this other kid we've been looking at. We think he can be successful for these reasons. But now we got to do a whole bunch of new work on this kid and then see how consistent he's going to be. A lot of coaches ain't willing to risk their jobs, risk their $1 million salaries with that.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, that's that core moment, y'all. That's the core comments of the day, man. For real. Core. Get to the core, y'all. And no, Chris, I didn't do the whole core commercial this time. All right. I just said that's the core moment, man.
Most definitely.
Had to put it up there just once,
Right.
But no, hey man, look. Thank you, Coach Greg, for enlightening us, man. Okay.
Yeah, he laid some real heavy stuff.
I'm
glad I'm not playing basketball.
I'm scared now.
Here early, my little one was shucking and jiving, doing all kinds of stuff, watching Disney Plus. So, but nah, man, I always like to talk this stuff because I think it's important and stuff that I've learned too.
Right.
When I first got into coaching, I was really naive, man. I was really naive as a trainer, as a young trainer, all that. Like 10, 12 years ago, I thought I was going to have a Division I player under my wing, couple years, like, because I knew my stuff.
Work.
But there's, right, because I work really hard and I love the kids. And then you're like, damn, this is a business for these kids at 18.
Yeah. God.
It's just crazy. This will open, when you're in it long enough, you'll open your eyes, man.
I mean, my eyes have been open tonight. Okay. God.
Guys, man. But I still push, man. I'm 365 with this coaching thing. Like,
most definitely.
That's why when you said burnt out, like I always wonder, like, damn, am I gonna mentally burn out or physically burn out? Which one go first? I got AAU. I head coach the high school team. I do the assist run stuff in the summer, and then we just got a new semi-pro WABA expansion team here in Boston. And just, I guess, because of my pedigree, they said, Greg, we got to have you on the staff. We can't have a team without it. And I'm like, well, damn. Can't go to that. It's a free part of my year for basketball. So I said, yeah. And here I am.
I said, I hope, you know, there's a team, there's actually a team in the hometown, Chris, ABA team, WABA team, and a ABA team. I forgot what they're called. The Sunrays, the Gary Sunrays, I think they are.
I'm almost sure I seen a post about them.
Yeah, and one of the girls that was on there, man, this girl is man, she's a beast. That was one when you had told me, and I wasn't understanding completely what you were doing. I said, well, hey, this girl, she's good, okay. But man, I just hope that leagues like those can do what they set out to do. I think like you said with the WABA that you coach or that you're involved with, everybody runs their situation different.
Mm-hmm.
And some people do it, and I can tell you not that guy, for the gratification of themselves. All right, you seem like the kind of guy it's about.
I wish I was like that. I'd probably get a few more wins.
And see, the guy here, same way, man. I don't think they won one game, okay, but they had the team, they had the people come out, they had the practices. It wasn't a huge turnout from the people, and that's the other thing. The support, support wasn't there.
What they playing at?
I think they were playing at the Hudson Campbell.
Oh, gotcha.
But it wasn't upstairs. It was down in the.
Well, the better court is downstairs.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's where the better court is at. So.
Okay, but it wasn't actually. My company had did that first season for him. We filmed the first season for him in conjunction with that other sports channel. But you know, there were some things, and I'm not going to down it at all, man. But I think the overall picture is that things like that can actually bolster the situation for those players. You know, if it's done correctly. And Coach Greg, I gotta commend you. I don't even know you, man, but I feel your spirit, bro. And I know you're doing some good stuff.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that. Like I said, I'm doing what honestly what I love to do. Like, it's not work. You know what I mean? So I get up with a purpose with this thing. But then as you learn more, you just start to find more purposes. And I think that's how you don't get burned out. I think you got to keep you can't walk in with the purpose and say, all right, this is what I'm here for, and that's going to be that for the next 20 years. It ain't, because the game's going to evolve, players going to evolve. You got to find new little challenges, and one of mine is like, you know, for the summer program, the Sis Run deal. Like, we had, you know, some college coaches out there, just because I had just connections, and they were like, oh man, this is dope what you're doing. But my goal is to, you know, have some of these prep school coaches. For some of these kids in bad school situations, high school situations, and then for, you know, a slew of college coaches, and I'm not talking D1s, right? I know a few of those, but I want some of these D3s. We got a whole bunch of D3s in Massachusetts, and ain't no reason why I shouldn't be able to get majority of them down here. So I'm just finding little challenges, man. But yeah, you gotta love this stuff, man. If you don't, never mind burn out. You just gonna be you're gonna end up looking bad yourself.
Yeah. So as we end this, man, it's kind of silly of me to ask you to give a final comment, because you didn't gave a whole bunch of them, okay? But if it's something that you could tell these kids, their coaches, the families that are involved, okay, with trying to get these guys to the next level, what would it be?
Invest in your kids, and invest in the life goals as much as you would in there. And this is for really the parents and even some of the coaches. Invest in the life goals as much as you would their athletic goals, because this athletics thing is a small percentage. It just really is, and it's so much of a tool that you can use as to bolster what they'll ultimately do in life. Like what Mills is talking about, trying to make sure that these kids know that that you can be more than an athlete and entertainer. You can be more than Steph or Pop Smoke. You can be so much more. You can be so much more within those same realms in entertainment and athletics.
Right.
And so that's what I say, man. Let's start investing in some of those things outside of the actual rapper and athlete. And because when I think it would just make it, more appreciative for a young man or woman to know that they got a world of things that they can be into, but they're going to work their behind off to be a said player. But again, starts with parents and coaches. So that's my final tidbit.
Cool. Gina, what you got?
Wow. Hey, I just feel like, you know what? There's something my mom told me growing up, always have a backup plan. Have that backup plan. I know a lot of times we have these young kids that they want to rap and they want to play ball, and that's all they're focused on, and that's what they put all of their energy, time, and money in. But you still have to have that backup plan, especially listening to Coach Greg. I'm like, I wouldn't even want to be out there just saying, okay, this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to get discovered. I'm going to be the next Michael Jordan. You got to have that backup plan.
Exactly, man. Yeah, Coach Greg, you put some gems out there, dude. Chris?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't deter nobody from putting their kid in AAU because I did that too. I said I had the same conversation with parents. I said, I don't even want to sign them up no more. Like,
But the reality, they have to hear the reality. That's anything you go into, there's a 50-50 chance of failure.
Yes.
Yeah, and then actually the percentage is higher than that. But I mean, I really believe that young adults need to really, like y'all said, have that backup plan, because that backup plan is huge. And it's not just huge just because if you don't make it, what if you get injured? You see what I'm saying? Then what is your backup plan? You know what I'm saying?
And Chris, what if you do make it?
And what if you do make it? You know what I'm saying? You still got to have a backup.
There you go.
Absolutely.
About that. Once you make it, then you actually got to be that person.
Exactly. Because a span of an NBA player used to last at least 10 to 12 years. Now, since the way everything is set up, you might get an NBA player, if you're not a superstar, their span can be 5 years and you gone. You don't get a pension, you don't get none of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff that you have to take in consideration when it comes to being an entertainer, an athlete, and all that. You just got to have backup plan.
There you go. Coach Upshaw, you started this whole conversation, bro. Is there anything you want to say to anybody here or anybody that's watching to encourage them to get them on the same page as you are? Anything you want to say, man? This is the opportunity to say it.
Just piggybacking on what Coach Greg said, I just respect what he said. It hit home, and like I tell my players, use basketball as a means to an end and not an end within itself. Like, it's really all, like, it's not all they have, but I work at a school where they give the kids an opportunity to get an associate's degree before they even leave high school. They kind of give them a step ahead in life. So you got kids that usually don't play sports or anything that's getting that step ahead. Not to be like pubbing the school up and nothing like that, but just being able to use basketball that these kids have, like, that's what we use to get out, and then we explore and find out what we're gonna be next. My parents really didn't have a lot of resources to send me to, there's so much stuff you can be in the world, or a doctor or a lawyer. Like, that never crossed my mind because I never seen that in my household. You know what I'm saying? It was either basketball or bust. Like, luckily I started reading and I educated myself more. Like, I could be more than that. I could be a teacher. Like, I'm working on my doctorate degree now. I could be a doctor of education. Like, I can keep pushing, like, using me as a role model. Like, I had a conversation with a kid today, and I'm not gonna say his name, but like I told him, like, he has to separate himself from the pack, and how we gonna do that? And we were just working out, like, we were doing push-ups, and he wanted to quit. I'm like, you gotta separate. Like, the number one player in the country not gonna quit his workout in the middle because his arm hurt. You gotta push yourself past your limits, and then you'll realize, like, it's really no limits. Like, you can really be what you want to be in this world. Just depend on how hard you want to work and what you're willing to sacrifice.
Good
That's
advice.
So if I had to send a message to the kids out there or to the adults that's out there listening, like if you're an adult, give back. Like it's not necessarily money that you have to give back. You can give your time, you can give your effort, you can give your knowledge.
You can
Knowledge
give
is
your connection. You can just give your
you can give
connection.
your
You know what I mean?
connection.
Like there are some people out there with a Division I connection, and ain't played a sport at all. You know what I mean? But you don't know
Yeah,
if you don't
yeah.
dive into some of that stuff. I mean, interrupt you, brother, but that was a really good point.
No. You're exactly right though. Like just give something, and if you're a player, you gotta soak it up. You gotta be respectful. You gotta be humble, and you gotta wanna be something more than what the statistics say. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey man, look. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say that's just and what Coach Upshaw just said. That's one of the big things. Like Coach Earl Smith, man, that was like a real mentor of mine when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? He really
yeah,
told me like, "Yo, you good? You can play ball, but what if basketball don't work for you? What you gonna do?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I had to figure that. I had to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? He didn't tell me, "Yo, this what you should do, this, and this," because he was the assistant dean at Roosevelt at the time. He was like, "You're just gonna have to figure it out." And once you figure it out, that's with everybody in the world. Once you figure out what your special talent is, you know what I'm saying? That's when you're gonna break through. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I understand it's certain things that you want to do because that was my thing. I was either gonna be in the NBA. Hey, I was gonna be Shaquille O'Neal. I was gonna be in the NBA rapping. That was my whole thing, right
Look, he ain't say NBA. He said I'm gonna be the platinum rapper and the all-star.
Exactly. And that was the thing. But coming from Gary, that's all we really knew. You know what I'm saying? We knew about it was until they bought the casinos there, it was music, sports, the mill, or the casino. Those were, that's where it was at. You know what I'm saying?
that was
And
it.
yeah, and we had to break, you know what I'm saying? We had to break that up. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wasn't going to the mill because if I went to the mill, I'd never leave there.
That was it. Right.
Yeah, so I was happy when the casinos came there, because then I can able to take that and go anywhere with it. You know what I'm saying? That's what really landed me in Vegas, but my entertainment background landed me in Vegas also. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. There it is, man. And the only thing I can say is that anybody who knows me knows I only speak on what I know. Okay, I can't speak on the sports because that's not what I did. Entertainment was what I've been doing for quite some time, and I've been pretty successful at it. But one thing is that strikes home with me is this: people always say, "You can't do it. You can't do it." You say, "Yeah, I can." Okay, then they say, "Well, prove it to me." I don't think anybody needs to prove anything to anybody. Okay, prove it to yourself that you can do it
Right.
from within. Tell yourself that, hey, whatever somebody else said I can't do, I can do it. I'm gonna prove it to myself that I can do it. Go ahead, Chris.
that was one of my things, bro. If anybody tell me I can't do something, that's what I'm gonna do, and that's always been my thing ever since I was little. You know what I'm saying? They saying, "Oh, you can't dunk." Yeah, everybody out there trying to dunk. Oh, can't nobody out here dunk. I'm in the 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? Dunking off one leg. Up at Douglas Park. Douglas, right behind, right behind over there on.
Chris, you know them. You know
Yeah.
them rims was only 6 feet tall.
Nah, bro. Hey, look, you gotta remember, they took those rims down and put out the bigger rims. They
I
put
know.
out.
I remember. I'm just messing with you.
Hey, don't let. Hey, I got 2 dunks in my life, Chris, and ain't nobody gonna take them away from me. And neither one was in the game. They're both in the layup line. You ain't
I
gonna
got
take those away from me.
I got
got
one.
Hey,
And it was a game either. And then when I came down, I tore my Achilles tendon.
Oh man.
But I got that done.
Hey, you got that. You got that.
And what got me used to dunking on bigger rims was dunking on the 8-foot rims at Beverage in elementary.
Those some good games, boy.
And so I was able to do, like, you see Jordan do something in the dunk contest. You can go on those rims and do it.
Yep.
In elementary school, 4th grade and all that. You know what I'm saying? So when it was time to get on the 10-foot joints, you know what I'm saying? I was out there getting it.
created legends out in these little on these little parks, man. These little schools, legends were created, man. But we have to sustain that legacy, okay? And I think talking about this, just like everybody talks about the Black Lives Matter and this and that, okay, this needs to be talked about because we're still making sure that we're still trying to make sure that we get these kids into a different light as opposed to the streets. We're trying to get them to a different place. All right, Coach Upshaw, I thank you, man, for having that conversation. Okay, because believe me, I'm going to keep a conversation up with my little brother Chris here and see what we can do to try to at least bring some shine. Okay, I don't know how we can do it, Chris.
It was a comment. I don't know if you see the comment my wife put in there. She put a interesting comment. She has a perspective on it. I don't know if you want to pull it up real quick.
I don't know if I can. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, all the thing I was gonna say is going like you said earlier, man, it's going to village. So what I'm doing with formulating with the team, I mean, you know, I got to bring something back to the crib. That's a plus. Even if I go out there and redo Tolliston, and man, and make that the Stars Park, redo Roosevelt and make that the Stars Park, whatever, bro. Something's gonna have to be done. You know what I'm saying?
And keep Coach Upshaw in that, man, because he's one of the coaches, if the only coach that I know in the city right now. And I'm not down in any other coach. I'm just saying what I know. That's something for all the way around for these kids. Okay, period. So please keep Coach.
Yeah, hey, Upshaw. I think I don't know if he coaches with you, but DeJuan Eskew, I think he had 21 Century too.
He was at one point. I know DeJuan real good though.
Okay,
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. I grew up with DeJuan.
Hey, Coach Upshaw, go ahead and quote what your wife said.
She was just saying. She said, "I think it's necessary for the city to commit to improving the city, completely revamping the Hudson Campbell for all the sports, and our kids deserve a true facility like the one in Hammond and the one they just built in Maryville."
I found it. I'm sorry.
Like her basis was, if you go to those leagues that's played at those facilities, over 80% of those kids are from Gary. We take our kids out there and pour the resources, the small resources that we do have into Valpo facility and Hammond facility, whereas we could be pouring them into our own facility.
Yeah, I mean, and we got to get back to what we had, Coach Upshaw, when we was younger. I mean, we got to get the bitty basketball back. I saw the article that they're basically putting the bleachers together to bring Little League baseball back, fixing up the Roosevelt baseball field to bring that back.
Yeah, that
we got to
was
bring back. You know what I'm saying? Even we had Pop Warner at Gilroy back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So we got to bring all those type of things back to start kids young, because back when we were in school, we had after school programs. We had the Boys and Girls Club to go to, even though the Boys and Girls Club is at Holliston now. But I mean, we had those functions and stuff for kids to go to, and we don't have that now. You know what I'm saying? When they get out of school, it's pretty much video games of the streets. That's pretty much what it is right now, man. And we got to change that narrative, man, for sure.
We definitely have to change that narrative. Coach Upshaw, when I'm there, man, if I can be of help, let me know. I'll bring my cameras out and do whatever I got to do, man, and we can make some things happen. And we post it, put it on Facebook, let people see it. The conversation has to continuously be held, all right, and some action has to be put behind the conversation. So let's do some things. Coach Greg, hey man, I learned a lot in this short time with you, man. We're gonna have this conversation again, and I hope I can get you back on here.
Oh, anytime. That's not a good question. Mills hit me, and it's not, like I said, as soon as Chris hit me, it's just not a question. Stand up dude, so he can ask me for
G is going to be one of the coaches that's going to be a part of the star situation.
That's what's up. It's going to work out. I know it's going to work out. That's the good.
And like I told Coach Greg, Coach Upshaw, man, like I want to bring people from the crib out west. You know what I'm saying? Like
Coach Upshaw ain't leaving Gary.
Huh?
Coach Upshaw ain't leaving Gary.
Hey, look, he'll leave for a professional situation.
I'm gonna leave it physically, but I'll never leave it mentally.
Exactly. That's what I try to tell people, Coach Upshaw. I'm always I rep GI everywhere I go, bro.
Chris,
Yeah.
that's a good guy. I've been dealing with Coach Upshaw for 2 or 3 years, man. It's a good guy. Okay, Coach Greg, I feel like I've known him forever now, man. Okay, so hey, that's all good. Adiemi says, "Damn near need a basketball reality show documentary like Hoop Dreams." Chris, I'm gonna do it, and I'm just gonna put your name on there as executive producer. All right?
I mean, you can do it. I mean, that's what I'm doing with this process of this NBA process.
No, I know, but we got a lot of work to do, bro. We got a lot of work to do.
This man, listen. That honestly, I mean, that if there's something that kept me in basketball, that kept my dream afloat, I wanted to be Arthur Agee, like believe it or not, like I kid y'all not, yo, like I don't know how big going downstate was, but to me that was damn near the next best thing than playing, Duke against North Carolina in my eyes. Like
that's what it was. Like going state, semi-state, and then going to state. That's what that's what the picture was when you played high school ball. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the traveling AAU team. It wasn't none of that. Going downstate and then play. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know you're the underdog. Because you're coming from the city, going 2 hours away down to pretty much quote unquote the country. You know what I'm saying? They call us the city boys up north. You know what I'm saying? Because we close to Chicago and got Chicago roots.
Right.
And down southern Indiana, is mostly like country style living. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to play against the team, the refs, all of that.
Hey, Chris, now I'm starting to see some other things, and I ain't gonna get no sleep again. I'm gonna be on a show like this.
Hey, man, look,
Coach Upshaw, we got to talk. All right, we got.
It's 6:30, bro.
I appreciate, Greg. I appreciate you for putting this platform out there, man. I asked a question yesterday, after just being, frustrated in my work. I needed somebody to, I guess, to vent to. Just not frustrated to the point where I want to give up or never want to give up, but just frustrated in the point like, what else do I need to do? So I got a lot of everybody who chimed in, everybody who commented. It was appreciated and respected.
It's gonna happen, man. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it talked. Yes, we're gonna get it talked about. We're gonna get it done.
And we definitely have your back.
Definitely got your back all day long.
Keep up the great work, Coach. I gotta tell you, man. No matter what, keep it up.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you, Coach Upshaw, Coach Greg, all the way out there in Boston. Chris, always, Gina Gasson. Now, tomorrow we changing the whole script around. We're not doing the music tomorrow, Chris.
That's cool.
Guess what we're doing?
We're doing the guest. The guest that was supposed to be on that. I gotta be PG. I gotta be PG, man. I can't say what it's gonna be. We got the doula coming on tomorrow. How about that?
No, we ain't got that one. It ain't that one. This one knows what she's talking about.
Okay.
This one is a licensed clinical sexologist. She's not a sex therapist. She's not a doula. She's a licensed clinical sexologist.
I ain't gonna be here. I'll watch the episode later. I won't be here.
That's all good, but she's older and she'll be talking about it. So Gina, come on. I think Krista Wicks, if you're watching, I think Krista's gonna come on. Krista came with some fire the other day. So hey man, look, I want to thank you guys. Coach Greg, Chris, always, man, you guys are very insightful as far as this situation goes. Okay, so appreciate you guys. Gina, thank you for chiming in. Great questions, as always. My right-hand girl.
Hey, Gina, what's the name you tagged me to? I saw the authors, but I didn't get a chance to read all the way through it.
That was the promo for Distinguished Authors Guild.
Got you.
Yeah.
I'll be with Shanta first week of May. Well, actually next week, because that's the first week of May. So next week, and I'll get it to her.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Almost there.
No scripture, girls. We get back to the basics.
You're beautiful. You're smart. You're loved. This week we're great. You got this. You're a badass. You can do this.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank everybody for tuning in, watching. Okay. I want to thank, before I go, Shaquille Lee, strength and conditioning coach at Notre Dame.
They're doing some great things.
They are. LaRon Golden, these guys, products of Gary, came out of Bowman, all right, doing some good things, okay, and they took the different route as opposed to the route that everybody else could take, okay. They found a different route and they did it, okay. Thank you guys for tuning in, all right. We will be back tomorrow. We have a sexologist on tomorrow, okay, so get your Vaseline ready. This is great. I can't do that because I gotta watch what I say now because Chris is on here, and whenever Chris is on here, I gotta be at least not NC-17, but I gotta be PG 14, 15, something. But hey, bro, I love y'all, man, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Dope Living TV Live. Lays out.